ages. It is your favorite time of the week. Wrestling chat with friends.
Like Tertiary.
Are you doing the Danhausen? It is a super special week for me, especially because it's AEW Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
We needed more
Y'all
Sundays?
can't
I was
give
confused.
the. You know what?
I was
Tony
very
needs to
enthusiastic.
break for the DJ noises. As always, I am joined by Cheats Two Belts. Cheats, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic. I'm ready to talk Double or Nothing and all things professional wrestling.
And I'm also joined by the Collector. Elliot, what do you got for us? What is your collectible of the week?
What do you hear? What do you say? I'm here. I'm present. I'm accounted for. I'm accountable. This is not my collector's choice this week, but this is my new scarf.
Loving it.
It's a better
Loving
scarf
it.
than you have, and you know it. But
Yeah.
my collector's choice of the week is a throwback to last week. We got kind of hot last week. I did about Eddie Kingston. So this is the Eddie Kingston new AEW figures, number 7.
Does he have
Series
two
9.
heads?
2 heads. Most of them come with 2 heads these
Oh.
days.
They do.
That-
They
yeah.
And multiple hands.
multiple
and
I don't
multiple
get the
hands.
but multiple hands.
Eddie Kingston is the greatest technical wrestler in AEW named Eddie Kingston. And that's all I'm going to say right there.
That's the truth right there, brother.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have the Ultimate Warrior. Tom, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great. I'm really looking forward to talking about Double or Nothing. I think it's a solid card.
It is definitely a solid card. So before we get into Double or Nothing, we had a really good go-home show last night on Dynamite. So you can be WWE if you want to. But what are you popping for this week? Cheats, kick us off.
I always go crazy for the Player Tribune pieces, anything that has to do with wrestling. So a couple hours ago, Jade Cargill dropped her Wrestling Tribune piece. I kind of just walked through her journey in professional wrestling, walked through her life, talked about her upbringing, growing up in Florida, having loved basketball not working out, and ultimately kind of being a regular human being, working a job with a partner and a child. And then someone said, you should be a professional wrestler. You look like a superhero. And one of her friends just happened to know an ex-professional wrestler.
Hall of Famer.
That
I hear
ex-professional
the
rapper
strongest man in the world.
happened to be Mark Henry. And getting linked up with Mark Henry, going through the whole WWE tryout, because Mark Henry was at WWE at the time, then meeting Tony Khan and converting over to AEW, and having her first match. Again, we talk about this with Jade all the time, but to hear her say it in her own words was really exciting. To have her first match ever in front of an audience, be on television, be on a big card, and to be partnered with Shaq, going against Cody Rhodes and Red Velvet. That was her debut to AEW in a live audience and really doing work. And she's just kind of gone up from there. It is a good read. Not as strong as Eddie Kingston's. Eddie Kingston's might be one of the best Player Tribunes ever, but a very, very good read. And it also gives you some insight into who Jade is. It's a good piece, and that's what I was talking for this week.
Am I correct that Jade's partner is a former MLB player or a current MLB player? Okay. Yeah.
I want to give a special shout out. During Jade's piece, she mentioned the impact that China had on her during her years coming up as like a bigger girl, as a taller, muscular woman. And I think that anytime we get a chance to pause and respect and love on China for the work that she put into the world while she was with us, is a glorious thing. So shout out to Jade, shout out to China. And that's a pretty good pop for the week. I'm not even going to lie, Cheats. That was a good one. All right, Tom, what you got? What got you excited this week about pro wrestling?
Real quick about it, I liked the Players Tribune article. One thing that jumped out at me about it was the very specific question that Mark Henry asked her. Can you do a handstand for 10 seconds?
10 seconds.
And she's like, yeah. He's like, oh, you'll be fine. I thought that was really interesting. That's It's such a specific thing that to correlate to.
Mark Henry's never done a handstand.
And I was going to say, and
seconds.
Tom, that's the exact question, but I realized I will never be a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, nope.
I really, really was intrigued by Hangman Page's promo last night with CM Punk. And I think what I really liked about it was it went in a direction that was a little bit new, but also, and we can talk about this more when we talk about the pay-per-view, but sort of opened up a new avenue of possibilities for where this story might go. And I think it could all of a sudden, like I was looking forward to the match because I think they'll obviously put on a good match. I was lukewarm on the story because it's sort of a face versus face kind of feud. It's like, I don't know. But after last night, I'm really interested to see where they go with it. So that's what I'm popping for this week.
So 2 things on that pop. First off, just all the love and respect for every wrestler that went out there last night in the wake of another senseless tragedy in our country. But in particular, CM Punk posted and then deleted something. He tweeted and deleted it early in the morning, just, being like, what am I supposed to do? Just go out here and wrestle? Like when all these terrible things are happening. He admitted it was a bit of a nihilistic stance. But then also to think about Hangman, who was prior to his wrestling career and when he was starting as a wrestler, was a public school teacher. So just big ups on them for being able to get out there, to do the work, cut the promo. Wrestling is escapism for a lot of people. And these days we have more and more to escape. So huge love and respect to everybody that went out there last night. But especially those 2 having to do like a long talking segment when maybe your heart's not in it. Big props on them for that. Second thing, I've been saying Punk was going to turn heel since he came back. And I believe you guys will all say, Megan, you were right, because I think I'm right, and I think Punk's about to turn. I went back and looked at his Ring of Honor, like the old man and the snake story, when he first got that belt, and just like how disrespectful and like he kind of just shitted on everybody in Ring of Honor at the time. And I think that's what we're looking at, and I really liked the subtle. I would have loved more storyline out of this. I just feel like originally going in, it was like he wants the belt because he wants it, and like there was no more story to it than that. But I think Hangman really teased something out last night that we may get to see a heel run from Punk in AEW, which we all know as a heel he is top notch. All right, Elliot, you tell me, what are you popping for this week?
Well, I got to tell you, and you mentioned it, it's hard to pop for a lot of things this week. This has been a very trying week. I'm really popping for the fact that May is almost over. Amen. We've had illnesses in our house, had injuries, and we've had just tragedy. So, and Punk did have a great tweet. He's really who I'm popping for this week. Not only that tweet, which I'd like to just read real quick because I have it right here, but also the shirts he was wearing this week and last week, which were top notch. And that's what I love about him. He definitely is the voice of the voiceless, no doubt about it. Let me read what he wrote and then deleted, what you referenced, Megan. Yeah. Feels pointless waking up today and just going about business as usual. Feels empty. I just feel so nihilistic. Let's go to a pro wrestling show when babies are murdered in schools every day. I don't have kids and I feel lost. Everyone in government is complicit. I keep deleting this. And he did go on to delete that, but that message is spot on. When I read it, I knew like, ooh, I'm popping for that because I'm right there with him, as a lot of us are. But we cling to our loved ones in times like this, and you guys fit that bill. You are my loved ones, so we're going to get into some wrestling this week. That's what I'm popping for. CM Punk all the way, and Eddie Kingston.
CM Punk. So I love when people try to troll him on Twitter over his hot take. He was deep in the heart of Texas with the pro-choice shirt on, and somebody was like, keep politics out of pro wrestling, and he was like, I'll keep politics out of pro wrestling when you keep it out of my wife's vagina. And I was like, yes, CM Punk for the win. He is always I feel like, well, I don't know, Hangman told us different, but he's always seems to be on the forefront of progressive issues and speak towards progressive issues. So we'll see. Maybe Hangman will reveal that he's like really terrible to people backstage, or we'll
Well,
find out
I
down the
do
line what.
I do think they're going to put the strap on him Sunday, and he will turn heel. I agree with you, Megan, and I'll be interested to see really where that character develops. Does he blame the fans for alienating him or giving up on him? Did the chance eventually dry up, and he was expecting it? So I think he can go a number of ways, but yeah, I'm popping for the beginning of the reign of CM Punk as AEW World Champion.
Summer of Punk 2.0. Here we go.
And
Okay, so
Megan,
yeah.
before we go too much further, we are joined by a friend. Let's bring him in from the Mixed Tag Show. Blue, welcome back to Wrestling
What up,
Chat with Rich.
Blue?
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Sorry I'm late.
Oh no, you're
No
all good.
worries.
You're all good.
We're still talking about what we're popping for, Blue. So, like, what got you popping this week? What got you going in pro wrestling? I know there's a lot to look forward to with Double or Nothing, but what over the week so far has got you?
I think what over the week that got me was most likely the Samoa Joe and Kyle O'Reilly match. I don't know if that was mentioned before.
Nope.
You're the first one to mention that.
Just how Kyle O'Reilly continues to oppress everybody on his singles run type situation, and him and Samoa Joe having a great match. Remember, Samoa Joe is a person that they try to regulate to just being a coach. He still shows you every time he steps in the ring that he has a lot of left in the tank. So it's very interesting to see how he's handling everything, carrying that ROH Pure Championship. No, not the Pure Championship.
He's
carrying
championship.
the TV Championship. Sorry about that. And I just love to see them two go at it again in the future. Why am I glitching? Am I in the Matrix?
You
I think you are in the Matrix. That was an amazing match. And Kyle O'Reilly, God love him. I did not like him at first. I didn't get it. And the more I see of him, not only on the product, but also on BTE and interviews, him and Bobby Fish have grown on me so much. I just love them now. Okay, so my pop, I went last because I knew nobody else was going to take it because this is a deep cut. But if you haven't started already, you should start watching Hey EW with RJ City. It comes on every Sunday morning. It's little short segments, 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes shorter, with AEW superstars. RJ City is a comedian, just all around adorable human. And he had Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs on this week. And I just if you're listening to this later, pause here, go watch that, and then just come back. Cause it'll brighten your spirit. Those two, I think I've always said, I think Starks is a star and will be a star, but seeing him and Hobbs just in that element of being able to kind of goof around with their characters and stuff, it was an amazing episode. Shout out to RJ City. Shout out to Hey EW. I'm always down for more content in the street from AEW, and RJ City does a great job of that. Okay.
You guys know. So, I'm sorry. Quick question.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. If you're gonna big up RJ City, I'm with it.
It's kind of a piggyback off their outside content. Do you guys know when the karaoke carpool karaoke is supposed to drop on Apple TV?
I am not sure. I know there was a bar rescue that dropped this week with Britt Baker and Adam Cole. And then we have Carpool Karaoke coming up. And then on the next season of Floor is Lava, which is dropping soon on Netflix, we have the Best Friends participating in that. So it's just good to see AEW people out and about, engaging with the rest of the media world. I think that's where WWE has the next level on everybody. And so our folks are out there, and I love it.
That's how you find new fans.
That's
right? They'll see you there and be like, oh, this person's funny. Let me check them out. It's a move.
Exactly.
Okay.
AEW has stars too.
We do. I love them. I love them so much. And I'm so glad that this week is all about AEW because it is the third annual Double or Nothing. Shout out to the first annual Double or Nothing. I have my first Stadium Stampede shirt on. I get one for my husband every single year. So this year, I guess it's going to have to be what is it? It's like Anarchy in the Arena. I don't know what it's going to be called this year, but I'm looking forward to it. So let's break down this card. We're going to go through the matches, match by match. I want predictions. I want hot takes. Tell me what you think, how you feel, if you're excited for it. Let's start with the buy-in. We have Hookhausen, which is the newly formed team of Hook and Danhausen, which do the curse. There we go. Elliot was cursing us earlier, Blue. So I feel double cursed now. So we have Hookhausen versus Tony Nese and Mark Sterling. I don't know if you guys saw the workout compilation video that dropped of them getting ready, but God bless them. Give me them hot takes. Who do you think's gonna win? Okay. And how do you feel about this match? I know it's on the buy-in. It might feel like a comedy segment.
It is a comedy segment. Yeah, it is a comedy segment. Danhausen and Hook are like 2 of the 5 most over people in the company right now. Mm-hmm. So this is to feature both of them, and Sterling is great too. And this is gonna be funny. I hope this will end with Hookhausen going over, of course. I'll be curious to see then if they have Hookhausen lay out Danhausen immediately, or I'd prefer them actually do a tag for a couple of weeks, actually get a tag team title shot. Danhausen costs him it, and then Hook might then turn on him. It'd be hard to move him as a heel right now because he is really so hot and so beloved, but
smoking.
That's probably maybe where they ought to try, and decimating your new friend Danhausen is a way to get it started, but I think the crowd's going to love it either way. But yeah, it's for them. Hookhausen goes over.
Anybody else have any opposite takes? Does anybody think Smart Mark Sterling is going to be the breakout superstar of Double or Nothing?
The only thing I'll say, just to kind of piggyback off of that point, I'm a big Danhausen fan. Hook is great. The only thing I worry about is I get that they're doing this to listen to the fans, but I wonder if if this goes on too long, is it going to hold Hook back? Because Hook is red hot, and are you restricting him by keeping him in this situation? I think it'll be fun for one night and maybe for a few weeks, like Elliot said. Beyond that, you have to kind of look at the big picture and let Hook, spread his wings, so to speak.
I wanted. I found it. I was found it interesting. First of all, the best friends group. It seems like they just came apart. Like there's nobody in the best friends anymore except for.
Do you watch BTE?
No, I watch it here and there. Why?
Okay, so there's this thing going on with Chuck E. T. You know how they had the best friend shirt with everybody across it?
Right.
He's been cutting people out as they stop hanging with the crew. So first he cut out Yuta, then he cut out Trent. So it's just like him and Britt now. I don't know, man. I feel bad for the best friends because I love me some sexy Chuck E. T.
The only people left of the best friends is Chuck E. T and his mom at this point.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Sue and OC, but OC is hurt, so it's like, yeah.
I was about to say, Hausen, it seems like it'd be interesting if he joined Team Taz. Is that the route they're gonna go? Hey, are you gonna be part of Team Taz now? And when you look at it, everybody else is busy doing their own thing. Nobody's really focused on best friends or Team Taz. So it's interesting to see that kind of aspect as well when it all comes down to it. That's what I'm looking at. He might as well just join Team Taz and make them relevant again.
Danhausen's gonna kind of perennially float around through different feuds. He's gonna appear and reappear and insert himself in and out over several feuds.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about this is I'm on the counter belief. I think Nese and Sterling win.
I curse you.
I think they do something to win. Danhausen probably takes the pin. Hook looks great, but I think they do keep this going for a few weeks. I think I think they have to make Tony Nese. They want to make Tony Nese a thing. I think putting him with Mark Sterling is a great idea. Having Tony Nese run over Danhausen in 2 seconds in his first match was perfect. You bring Hook in, they feud. I think it becomes a real feud for a little bit, and ultimately, I think this is just the beginning of that. And I think ultimately we see more of Hookhausen against Tony Nese, Mark Sterling, and that carries on.
I'm gonna just let that poor opinion go, because I don't think there's any way they do not put over Hookhausen. And honestly, I'm ready to see Danhausen wrestle. I was so excited for his debut, and then for it to be, just a quick squash match. I don't know. I'm ready to see Danhausen get his wrestling on in the big ring.
But nobody sees Tony Nese as an asset. That's my thing. I think they've got.
No, definitely.
I think they got to make Tony Nese the thing.
But that's why you have Mark Sterling there to take the pin.
Yeah.
I don't love Tony Nese. I think he's okay, but I mean, I think he is very much he wrestles in the same style, I think, as like Pac and a lot of other like, beefy, compact guys that they have. He hasn't shown me anything super great yet. I'm not over with him. He hasn't got over with me. Him with Mark Sterling is interesting, but I mean, Mark Sterling is carrying that promo work, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So Hookhausen for the win, and I think that was the majority of people saying that Hookhausen was going over. So as a collective,
I think I'm the only one. That's the other one.
You are. So as a collective, we got our money on Hookhausen. They're in Vegas. I don't know how people bet on. I'm not gonna break kayfabe, but I don't know how people bet on pro wrestling.
They've got all the odds. They've got all the odds. They can do it.
I don't know. Okay, so moving on, we then have the culmination of what has been a long burn feud, I think, for a while, and hopefully the end of this feud. We have House of Black versus Death Triangle. Who do you guys have? What are your thoughts?
Why do you want this to end? Why are you over this?
I'm just like I'm over this particular feud. Like I really want to see House of Black be maybe a little more serious. I don't know.
I love the feud. I think it's going to be a great match. I want it to keep going because I really do like it. I think they are perfect opponents for each other. So I actually have no clue who's going to win this particular match at Double or Nothing. Probably House of Black because they keep disrespecting my Lucha Bros, even though they're the greatest tag team in AEW. But yeah, House of Black probably goes over. I love big things. Maybe Julia Hart finally comes around. Maybe but I love this. I love this trios situation, and I just think they're going to be great matches.
Well, there's going to be trios belts pretty soon, so these guys will cross paths again.
Yep.
And I think House of Black should go over because they are sort of probably hotter and can do more overall going forward. Even though there are lots of feuds to have because the talent roster is so stacked. House of Black just has a little bit more ability to draw, I think, right now.
Now that's because Ray Phoenix was on the shelf for months.
Right.
Like,
well, I don't want to see them lose any TV time, but I think this will be the blow off and they move on somewhere else. But they will come around again because those trio titles will be defended every week.
Yeah, in the media scrum today, I believe, Tony said that the trios belts are happening and he teased perhaps additional belts. So people are saying maybe there might be like a women's tag belt coming soon. I don't know. I do think for a trios belt, this feud makes sense. And even what we're seeing being built with like Blackpool Combat Club. But until we have those straps to go after, I have had quite enough of House of Black versus Death Triangle. I want to see them doing something else. Both of them. I love both the teams. So Blue, who do you got for that? House of Black or Death Triangle?
I have House of Black because if I'm not mistaken, House of Black is already taking the L like in the past couple of weeks. I just don't want to see like a continuous situation where House of Black continues to lose a lot. So I prefer them to hold this W, and like somebody said, hopefully Julia Hart comes around and becomes Julia Blackheart.
I like it. I like that
because it's about time. I think like you can't keep fighting that off. It has been a long-term storytelling in her sense, so time to pull the trigger.
Tom, who you got?
House of Black, and this is maybe wish casting a little bit, but I am ready for them to pay off the Julia Hart thing. I think this is the way you do it.
I'm with.
Yep.
Yeah, this is the way you do it, and that can be the deciding factor in the match, and everybody looks good. So.
Okay, so we officially have House of Black going over with potentially
put some respect on Ray Phoenix's name.
Okay, so
I mean, he's no Eddie Kingston in the ring, but
he's no wrestling Eddie Kingston. But
so we had a whole thing go down about Eddie Kingston last week. We love him, and that's the thing that's happening. But there's some Eddie Kingston disrespect happening on Wrestling Chat with Friends.
Yeah, there
if
is.
you can believe it.
What's happening? What's the Discord?
So
Like,
we all went and saw him at
Here
Capitol
we go.
Collision,
I know. Let's just
and
rehash this whole.
seeing him live. For me, I love Eddie Kingston. I think he's one of the best things going in pro wrestling right now. But he very much has the character of like an 8-year-old getting into a fight. Like he's just like, "Rah!" Like I'm gonna pump my fist and the crowd's gonna cheer me on, and I'm got a magic back fist. So last week there was a little kerfuffle over Eddie Kingston, and now there's jokes being made at his expense, which I hate. I love him. He's the king.
Agreed. Megan and I were on the same team about that versus these two.
I mean, he's amazingly good at being a pro wrestler. We're just gonna.
He is as great as he needs to be.
Okay, moving on. Without disrespecting Eddie Kingston. Okay, so let's move to. Ooh, this is a match that I am super excited for, and I do feel like is a dream match for people that followed WWE back in the day and are huge AEW fans now. Well, WWF back then, I guess, and are big AEW fans now. We finally have the Hardys going up against the Bucks. Generation versus generation. This one's hard to call, guys. Who do you got? Blue, let's start with you.
I think it got to be the Young Bucks. You got to go with the Young Bucks on this one. They've been on a losing streak as well. Let's be honest. They haven't been doing very well in the tag team division ever since Red Dragon and trying to figure out this whole what is it, the Undisputed Elite situation. So when it comes down to this, the Hardys, they got to do it on TV at least. We've seen them a few times, of course, but on pay-per-view live TV, we have to see, unless they're gonna run it back and give us a ladder match, then I'm okay with the Hardys winning. But in the long run, I think it's time for the Young Bucks to take the crown as best tag team in the world. After the best tag team in the world.
I'm on the fence with this. I think that the Hardys could win, and it could be like the push down that the Young Bucks need to turn away from Red Dragon and come back to the face side. They have definitely been working that dirty heel heat for a while now, and I kind of miss them as big baby faces. But I also do know that I don't know. I'm really on the fence because they could. I mean, they're EVPs. They can book the match any way they want to, and they have been on a bit of a losing streak. I'm gonna say Hardys just to be contentious.
Good for you, Megan. I like
Elliot,
that.
what do you got?
I agree with Blue on a lot of reasons. I didn't really follow the Bucks when they were super over, like in Japan and I guess in Ring of Honor. So
Yeah.
they're really good heels, and because I do not like them. I really don't, but I think they will go over. I'm sure I know it's part of their routine of their act, but not really. They have enormous egos, and I don't like that character coming out of them. I like that character in a lot of guys, but just something about those two brothers. It reminds me of like the me and my brother when we were 12 and pretending we were a tag team. So they're really great at being douches. So let them just continue to be douches and be heels, and let them just go over and challenge, get in the tag team mix, because they are incredibly talented. So let them go over. The Hardys know what that spot feels like. So it makes sense for them to put him over.
Tom, what are your thoughts? Who do you got? Which set of brothers will prevail?
I'm glad that this match is getting a national, this kind of platform, because obviously these two teams have squared off in the past, but it was a much smaller potential audience had seen it. I think for the reasons that Elliot and Blue said, it makes more sense for the Bucks to go over, especially because at this point, Matt Hardy, who I'm a big fan of, he's sort of in the kind of the Christian, similar role to Christian, where he's not really wrestling all the time. He wrestles occasionally. He's sort of a manager, that kind of thing. So I think logically, unless they are planning on doing an extended program where there's going to be a series of matches and maybe, as Blue said, a ladder match down the road or something, if this is one and done, the Bucks, I think, need to go over.
Good point. I am gonna go Hardys, and I'm gonna go Hardys because I actually think that it might be. I do think it might be a little bit of what Tom was saying in regards to a possibly one and done match. What does AEW consistently try to do? They've tried to give the people what they want. This match has no real, I think, significance for the future. I think it's great booking. They're going to put together like a really good match on a pay-per-view card. But I don't know if this has quote unquote feud legs. I don't think it does. And if it doesn't have feud legs, give the people what they want. It's kind of what AEW does. That probably puts Jeff Hardy and Matt over. The Bucks, again, they can write themselves in and out of stories at their pleasure, at their will. They can figure out another angle moving forward. But if the feud continues, I actually think if the feud continues, the Bucks beat them up bad, and then have them come back in a couple, like, that might start a feud. But if it's a one and done, give the people what they want. I think because of the status of Matt and Jeff both, I think it's going to be more of a one and done, and I think they give the people what they want. Hardy's on top.
Interesting.
Well, in my math, my vote counts twice. So I said Hardy's, Chief said Hardy's.
We should be keeping track. We should start keeping
track so we can tweet these out and then later see whether or not we were correct.
All right,
so we're going to go a 50-50 split on this. Just to reiterate, I think that the Hardys have said they want to retire together. They want, one last run as the Hardys. And I think they've had a good chance to do that so far. And to a couple of people's points, like Matt really isn't in the ring that much anymore. So I think them winning this and having, kind of a big send off for the Hardys, whether that be now or the Bucks going over and then them beating the Bucks down the road, we shall see. But for the official Wrestling Chat with Friends prediction, we're going to go split decision on this one, guys.
All
okay.
Right.
We should start keeping, we should keep the individual tracks and then hold them accountable in the future. So this is what we'll do.
I think that is super accurate, and I haven't kept those notes so far. So
I have.
Starting.
I can go back and listen.
Well, yeah, I was going to say there is a recording of this. We'll be able to.
We could just go back and listen or watch it again. Solid point, Tom. Okay, so let's move along. We've got some championships on. I want to hold the championships because I think those are probably the biggest ones. So, and the Owen. So let's go ahead to a match that I think we have all seen coming. If you saw that man standing on top of the cage on Wednesday, you know a star has been born and is about to be pushed to the moon. MJF versus Wardlow. Who you got? And tell me why it's Wardlow.
Who wants to take it? I'll take it. I'll take it first. No, go ahead, Blue.
Okay, I was gonna say because Wardlow is like completely over. Like this is it. I mean, if MJF is ever gonna lose one, it has to be this one because this is what's been building for like over a year now. I think, like, again, long-term storytelling. We've seen Wardlow get tired and everything he has gone through just to get his hands on MJF at this point. It makes, if you book it any other way, I'll be surprised. But I do see Wardlow going through this and head straight for the TNT title, and the MJF could kind of veer off and go towards the AEW title, just to get his shot as well. But yeah, I definitely see Wardlow going over on this one.
Hard agree. All right, Elliot, you were about to go. Jump in. Tell me.
Yeah, I think if you're going to have a clean finish, then it'd be Wardlow going over as opposed to a clean finish, MJF pinning him. I don't think that's going to happen because of their trajectory where they're both going right now. I would personally like to see it end in a dusty finish and have maybe something else happen. That doesn't make as much sense, but I think they're both fine right now. They're both so good and so over that they're both potentially the two top stars a year from now going at it. So it really doesn't matter what you do. You can't really screw it up. So if someone's going to if there's going to be a finish, it will be Wardlow.
Okay, so keeping it kayfabe, like if Wardlow loses, he can't have an AEW contract. So I think we have to see Wardlow go over. Plus, people just love him. Put him over, let him sign his contract immediately and then drop whatever his new song is going to be. People are really hoping they can license what is it? It's War Pigs song.
By Black Sabbath, sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, whatever his track is, he's been without music for weeks and weeks and weeks. So let him go over, sign the contract, drop that new Wardlow theme, and I don't know, Ruckus get busy, make him a good track. Cheats, what do you think? Who do you got, MJF or Wardlow?
Elliot, I'm ashamed of you.
With the MJF scarf on too,
MJF
right?
MJF scarf going against the biggest heel in the industry with the most heat, who was going to find a way, and it is not going to be a clean finish. Nobody expects it to be a clean finish. They're going to find a way to put MJF over Wardlow, have all the people in the arena go crazy, and have MJF leave that ring saying, "I'm the best thing in the world. You all suck, and I'm probably leaving for WWE anyway." He's just going to say all of that at the end of the match. MJF, ring it up. He does not lose. He keeps it going, and he'll just continue to be the best heel in the industry.
My prediction. I love that prediction. I do, Cheats, and there's a big part of me that wants it to happen. I predict maybe that will happen a year from now when Wardlow defeats MJF for the AEW World Title. And then he says, "I'm off to WWE." Yeah, I like that though. I like where your head's at.
Tom.
I think MJF goes over. If we look at the history of kind of how they have booked him, it has been he is the dastardly heel who puts the face through all these hoops to get to him, and then he beats them. And I think the only thing that gives me pause is the stipulation about the contract, but there's a million ways you can write around that.
Yep.
I think he's going to win, and I think it's going to be very similar to what Cheatham said, where it's like everybody is Wardlow is really over. The segment, in terms of the crowd reaction, was probably the biggest reaction last night. Everybody wants him to win, and right when he's about to finally do it, it gets yanked away. Yes! And MJF is
every heat gets every heel gets
pinned. Great
wrestling.
Every heel has gotten
pinned. Every heel has gotten pinned.
I honestly, to be 100% honest, now that you guys have said it, I'm still Team Wardlow, and I think Wardlow's gonna win. I think he has to.
I like Wardlow.
But now that you've said it, there is not, like, he would have nuclear heat if he took Wardlow off TV right now. Yeah. Like, there would be massive heat on MJF for being the one that's taking away Wardlow from the people.
And let's be clear, they're not going to take Wardlow off TV.
They're not.
They're not going to not give him a contract. No. I'm saying he's going to get to whatever that last leg is, and he's going to win. It's going to be Ric Flair all over again. And then, they're going to figure out a way to bring him back next week and say how he cheated and all that. But MJF, I think the most heat of the night is when he goes over Wardlow.
Okay. So, again, we got a split decision. I think everybody's agreeing that there might be some kind of dusty finish. We shall see. All right, so let's go on to the Owen. We know who our finalists are for the Men's Cup. We have Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe. We are still unsure until Rampage airs tomorrow. Or is it live tomorrow? It should be, right? It's like Double or Nothing weekend.
Yeah, it's live.
Yeah, so until tomorrow, we don't know our women's side, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So, Men's Owen Hart Cup Finals. We have Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe. Who you got?
I'll go first because I'll be quick. Jay Lethal and the crew ruins it for Samoa Joe. Adam Cole goes over.
Agreed.
Damn, are y'all just gonna? I don't know.
which is a shame because honestly, from an in-ring standpoint, if it weren't for that angle playing out, this might be the match I look forward to the most. I would love to see those two.
Oh, they're gonna give us a show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I agree. However, I just for the spirit of the Owen Cup and it being the first one, I would like to see Samoa Joe get it. I think Adam Cole is kind of a turd. But yeah, clean win. Like, I don't want to see any like shenanigans.
Are you picking him? Are you picking him, Megan?
I think I am. I think I'm picking Joe.
Good for you. I like that.
I'll take it. I'll take that one for Joe. Just because, like, I don't know. It makes the most sense for if Adam Cole and Britt Baker take it, they can, like, go on the road together and do, like, Owen Hart Foundation events and stuff. It makes sense. They're already together. They're a couple. I don't want to see it on Adam Cole. He's such a turd. He is such a turd.
Wow.
And the memory of Owen Hart is one that is beloved. He was Healy during his run. Let's give him that. But his memory is beloved. He is honored, almost probably the highest of all of our past wrestlers, maybe only surpassed by the Shimmy Shimmy Shake Eddie. But I don't know, man. I feel like Adam Cole is way too swarmy. Swarmy is the word. He's too swarmy to have this title. That's my opinion. Okay, so all of you guys said Adam Cole. I said Samoa Joe. Matt, moving on. Definitely some sort of interference, whether it be from the Undisputed Elite, Jay Lethal, they're going to be in there somewhere. We'll see. Another dusty finish. I hope this is not an entire card of dusty finishes, though. Let me put that out there. I can't believe I forgot. We're going to do the rest of the and then we'll go to that. Britt Baker, DMD, is on the finals for the Women's Owens Cup. We know that for sure. Tomorrow night, we will find out whether she faces Ruby Soho or Chris Statlander. So this is a two-part question. A, who is going to the finals? B, who do you think ultimately wins? I'll go first. I'm going to say Ruby Soho. And again, just because she's swarmy, I hope that Ruby goes over Britt Baker.
Yeah, I think when we talked about the first time we talked about this bracket a couple of weeks ago, I think I said I figured Ruby Soho would win the whole thing. I'll stick with that.
Well, Ruby and Chris Statlander are like two of my three favorite female wrestlers on that roster. I really like both of them. So I'm indifferent as to who I think could go to them. I don't think they'll give it to Statlander, but I think she's close to being ready. Ruby's like been in professional wrestling for a while. She's not new by any means. She's earned it. She's good enough. She can win it. And if she does beat Statlander, I think she does go over Britt Baker. But I really like Chris Statlander. If she won, maybe that's a path for Britt to win, but I hope not. But I don't think they're going to give it to Chris Statlander, so that's why I think Ruby's going to win.
The only thing that I hadn't considered the point that Megan brought up, which is the Adam Cole and Britt both winning and sort of doing something with that. I hadn't thought of that. That's the only thing that gives me any sort of reluctance at all. But I think it's Ruby wins.
Statlander isn't even supposed to be there. Remember, she got in as a replacement. Right. I think it's Soho all along, and I do think it goes back to giving people what they want. I think Baker's had her kind of moment in the sun for now, and she'll be relegated a bit down the card. And I think that they owe Soho. Like Soho has since she's come in, she hasn't had the run that I think a lot of people think she deserves. And I think that this can start at least a Ruby Soho run that people will respect.
Hope so.
Lou?
I'll go Ruby Soho as well. Only for the simple fact that she has faced Britt Baker before. She knows how the crew gets down in a sense, so she knows how to kind of avoid them. And also, this would bring on this Jamie Hayter versus Britt Baker.
Good point, Blue. I was going to mention that. Good point.
Yeah, like that. They kind of hinted at it during the last match. Well, the last match last night. And then, so I kind of see that happening where Jamie Hayter tries to help, even though, Britt says no, and then costs her the match, and Ruby Soho wins. I feel like it's time for Soho. Everybody's been rooting for Soho. We can't give Britt everything, all right? Like at the end of the day, she had a very long, lengthy title run. She doesn't need this tournament.
It's time for Hayter. It's time for Hayter, and I think that's the point. They've been building up that feud for a bit.
That's what I was about to say too, Cheats. I think like that the payoff of Hayter turning on Baker, I could see that being some sort of, that plays into the finish, and then we can finally get that feud. That I think is going to be a good feud for Hayter, especially if she's turning proper face and not just like half face, because anything against Britt Baker is face, short of slapping someone's mother. So we got Ruby Soho going over Stat, and then going over Britt Baker for the Owen Hart Cup finals for the women. Is that what everybody decided?
Megan, that is what we decided with Megan. Quickly for the group.
Yeah.
If Statlander goes over, does that change anyone's? That has to change everybody's vote.
Yeah, it's Britt.
They better not give to Britt. Britt's had too
If
much.
Statlander goes over, Statlander wins the whole thing.
I'm with that opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I think if Statlander goes over, Statlander wins.
You also have to think about the investment they made into Statlander. She done changed her whole look. She done dropped the best friends. She's been on her own,
She's
situation.
no longer an alien.
Right. So I don't. Either way, Britt is losing. They just wanted her there to be there, but she's not winning this.
Just think about that. She was an alien, and now she's not.
I think she's still an alien. She's just like a more intense alien.
I think she just.
I don't know.
Get well, Layla Hirsch.
Oh yes.
Sure.
Layla Hirsch has a ACL tear. Just had surgery today. Big love to legit Layla Hirsch. I've been wondering where she was. I hadn't seen her on even like Dark and stuff for a while. So big ups to her. I hope your ACL gets better. Okay. So what was formerly known as the annual Stadium Stampede, which will now be Malice in the Palace, Anarchy in the Arena. God only knows what it is when you get these two groups of people together. We have Blackpool Combat Club teaming up with, just because Wheeler's still in Japan, right?
Yeah, he's off holding it down.
Yep.
For the best of the Super Junior weeks.
Let's go, Yuta! But okay, so Daniel Bryant and Jon Moxley teaming up with Eddie Kingston and Proud and Powerful Santana and Ortiz versus Jericho Appreciation Society and Jericho the Wizard. Who do you think's going over?
Who wants this? I'll say I don't really care who wins. I want to be entertained. I think we will be entertained.
Yep.
Something tells me something telling me Jericho and this could go over. Sure, I'm not sure it really matters, but it probably won't happen. I'm sure. Hopefully, in the end, if you give the crowd what they want to see, Jericho gets his comeuppance, and Blackpool Comedy Club inflict major damage and violence.
You were on the Comedy Club.
Did I really?
I'm gonna come fight you. Don't you be coming for Mox's crew.
That's my new T-shirt.
That's a new
Blackpool
T-shirt.
Comedy Club. Yeah, Blackpool Combat Club will hopefully inflict a lot of violence. It should be fun, but I just want to be entertained by this. This might be what I'm looking forward to the most on some level because these always have big fun spots, and that's what wrestling's about.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm not gonna lie, I do not like the Wizard. I don't agree with him as a person. As a character, he's great. As a person, I think he's kind of garbage. However, the last two Stadium Stampedes have been comedy gold and sports entertaining, to say the absolute least. So I am looking forward to some shenanigans, but ultimately I'm going to go with Blackpool Combat Club, Proud and Powerful, and Eddie as going over. I don't think they can take the loss to JAS at this point because they're like so silly. He throws fireballs at people. Mox gonna lose to somebody and throws fireballs at people. I don't understand. I don't know if you were listening to commentary, but William Regal was on commentary on Rampage with Chris Jericho last Friday. And Regal was like, none of these people know you well enough to tell you Chris Jericho, but you have lost your mind. You run around here throwing fireballs at people. He was like, you're out there. I've known you for a long time, and this is hands down the craziest shit you've ever done. So I'm going with Sir William Regal and Blackpool Combat Club. Blue, who you got?
I got Blackpool Combat Club as well. I mean, Jericho, again, this one knows that Jericho just had enough. Like, you can't keep winning everything. At one point, you got to do the job for somebody. And at this point, Proud and Powerful needs it. Eddie Kingston has beaten you before, and you didn't give him his proper dues. And in terms of Blackpool Combat Club, they're just some badass dudes. Like they just kick ass, and I just love it. And these Jericho Appreciation Society is just like a bunch of jokers. And I didn't really appreciate Chris Jericho called himself a wizard after putting a fireball in the black man's face. So,
Can we talk about how every time he calls himself the wizard, my husband leans over to me and says, "The Imperial Wizard, the Grand
right,
Wizard."
right.
Where were you on
Exactly.
January 6th, Chris Jericho? That's all I want to know.
Where
Continue.
his wife was at. But yeah, so yes, I'm with the other guys. We call them the other guys.
The other guys. I'll take any other guys over Jericho Appreciation Society.
Right.
That's just me. All right, Tom, who you got? Are you going to be contrarian and say that Fireballs will win the day?
You know, first of all, one of those Stadium Stampede matches was the one and only highlight of Urban Meyer's entire tenure as the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right. He was in the match.
He was in the match.
It was a Jericho match. He was in
Yeah,
the match in his office.
Yeah, they fought through the office.
The only reason that I think it all the Jericho Appreciation Society might go over is just from the standpoint of they are a team and the other group is really two separate kind of entities. But the fact that they already like teased that leads me to believe that they're not going to do it. That they are going to have the Blackpool Combat Club and Santana Ortiz and our boy Eddie Kingston go over. So I agree. I think there will be a fireball in the match, but perhaps it will backfire. I do enjoy Chris Jericho a lot. I don't think there's been anybody ever in the history of wrestling.
You would.
Jericho's going on Fozzy tour
Chris
shortly,
Jericho
so he's not going to be around for a while.
I enjoy Chris Jericho as a wrestler.
I do too. So I think they lose. I think Blackpool and Santana Ortiz and Kingston win.
So are we unanimous? Cheats? Did you say Blackpool?
Yeah, I mean, look, if Eddie Kingston's in the match, he's gonna win. So
Eddie Kingston is Eddie Kingston's the greatest technical wrestler in AEW.
I can't deny Eddie Kingston in this match, right?
Nope.
You know what? I'm gonna get Eddie to come whoop y'all's ass. You know Eddie likes to fight. I'm gonna be like, Eddie, bring your Timbs and your most bangingest Tupac mixtape. I got some people for you to roll on.
Better than that, Megan. I hope if he's on Cameo, I'm gonna have him cut a promo on Cheats.
Oh my God, rip him up.
I like Blackpool to win.
Okay, so we're unanimous. Blackpool Combat Club. Does everyone anticipate being highly entertained?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes? Okay, good. All right, let's go now to our title scene. And I just realized, it's not on the card, but I'm going to cover it first because I don't know what they are doing desecrating the title of the late, great Brody Lee, but the TNT, Sammy and... Are they fighting again? Is that happening? Will we find out tomorrow, maybe?
I don't know.
Scorpio and Sammy?
Is it on the card?
It's not on the card.
I don't think
it's not on the card, but they've teased it. I mean, and I think I've heard some dirt sheets mention it. Something's going to happen, I think, tonight or tomorrow when they present Scorpio with his new title to maybe add it to the buy-in, something like that, or they'll just they'll do a vignette, or not a vignette, but they'll be outside the arena. They'll be there doing something. They'll cross paths.
This has been I think the worst booked thing in AEW of late. And it feels like to some extent that they are just keeping the title warm for, Wardlow or Miro or somebody like that who's going to come and have a substantial reign. Because, I mean, they turned Scorpio Sky face for like a week and then turned it back. I didn't get any of that. And I think they're just a little bit sort of going week to week and kind of making it up as they go along. So I don't think they, maybe they know now, but I don't think that they had even decided probably as of a couple of days ago, like what they were going to do, if anything, with the title on this card.
I see Scorpio Sky holding the title for a very long while. Only because they're giving him custom titles. You can't go ahead and spend money on custom titles for a short reign.
That's a good point.
And they made a point to destroy one title to bring in another. So it kind of goes into the situation where every time somebody wins the title, to give them their own design. Like, look what happened with Miro, Brody Lee. The only person that didn't really get a design was Cody and this guy right now, Sammy.
Yeah.
But other than that, when they have a very long, lengthy run, they give them custom titles. So I can see this going on for a while. For Scorpio Sky, I do see him going complete face after a while. You know them; they like to do long-term storytelling. Maybe he's battling the inside of the inner good in himself or something like that. That's gonna come out later on.
I wonder, and I'm just sort of thinking stream of consciousness now. I wonder if the TNT title was the storyline was one of like Cody's things as EVP that he sort of oversaw. Maybe that's what he could have conflicted with Tony on, and because Cody's gone, they haven't sort of gotten that together yet, and they're sort of making some decisions on the fly. Cody had a lot of like passion for that title, even though he was a first holder of. So that's just a crazy theory, but like it would track.
I think.
Yeah, you might be right about that, especially since like if I recall correctly, his contract was up. He still held the title, and so that they probably were, doing stuff on the fly at that point to try to figure out like where is this going to go.
That's Sammy took it because they had that inner like.
Well, no, I was gonna say if we're gonna go like historical context, I think AEW made a strategic mistake at the very beginning when it was like Cody couldn't challenge. Remember, if Cody won or lost one particular match, he couldn't challenge for the heavyweight. He couldn't challenge for the AEW championship ever again.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they did that. He loses the match. I think in retrospect, they were like, that was a mistake. They they create a title, right? And Cody's holding this title. And I mean, they were going to create secondary titles anyway. Here's what I think, though. I think that Scorpio Sky does go complete face, and I think he goes in a rivalry against Ethan Page, the other American Tag Team member.
Sure.
And they have that run for a bit, and I think that's going to be I think that's a good feud. I think Ethan Page is we talk about him on the show in the past. I think he's got a lot of talent, got a lot of charisma, a lot of heel heat, and I think they move Sky away from Dan Lambert. They keep Ethan Page, American Top Team, together. They've still got to work on the Paige Van Sant thing. So I think they're invested in American Top Team and Dan Lambert more than probably we want them to be. So I do think that I think this kind of goes on for a while. I don't think it still meanders, right? Tom TG's right about that part, but I think Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky is who we see moving forward.
I think that we eventually definitely have that story coming. I think Scorp and Ethan Page would be something captivating, would be something I would watch. At this point, like, Sammy was already on super thin ice with me, and then he had the nerve to take a sledgehammer to Mr. Brody Lee's belt. I know it's not his belt. I know it's a different belt, but it is still the TNT Championship. At this point, Sammy's got go away heat for me. I'm done.
I'm sorry. Isn't Paige supposed to be facing Tay Conte tomorrow on Double Nothing as well, or did they scrap
They
that?
were, but
It
Paige
was
Van
mentioned,
Sant.
but
It was supposed to be the mixed tag, but Paige Van Sant. It was a tweet I saw recently where she like admitted that she wasn't ready to go in the ring. Like she didn't feel comfortable with her, wrestling ability at this point. And so they're putting that on the back burner. But I think
that's smart.
I do think that may be what messed up that feud, though, right? Because they were ready to bring in Paige Van Sant and Scorpio versus Sammy and Ty, and like, if she can't go, I mean, they brought her out a couple of times, and even her like brawler segments were kind of rough.
Well, that's what I was going to say. She couldn't even throw a working punch. I mean, it was.
Yeah. Can I say too? I mean, I don't know much about Paige's background outside of the MMA, and I know she's had.
I've done some research.
Yeah, I know she's had a lot of challenges in regards to just like upbringing, life. I think she's a survivor of certain assaults and things like that. However, she is also really, really outspoken in the sense of maybe even more than a Ronda Rousey, who Ronda will every once in a while tweet like, this is all, entertainment, F this crowd type thing. Paige is really much cut from that cloth. And if it is indeed she's not ready, and she said she's not ready, that's great. It could have gone really left if she wasn't ready, felt she wasn't ready, and they put her out there. Because I could easily see her being removed from the company for being like, these are all the things that they did wrong, and I hate them all.
Yeah. We'll see what happens on that. Again, go away heat for me, so go away. Scorp takes it. Did we all say Scorp takes it?
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Scorpion, if there's a match,
If there's a match, it's Scorpio Sky. Okay, moving on to things we like more. The AEW TBS Championship. We have Jade versus Anna. Feels like a very last minute thrown together match. I think we all
What's the
know
TBS
who's
title?
going over on this one.
Squash.
Squash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not a squash, but Jade goes over.
Let's go ahead. We're gonna make that a double prediction. So we're saying Jade is going over, and it's a squash match.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, relatively speaking.
I mean, Anna's gonna look better than Anna's gonna look good. I think Jade was in a match recently where
Anna was the last person to challenge for it, wasn't she? And she got her. She did not fare well.
I'm gonna say there's a moment. There's a moment where the commentators are going to, whether it's Excalibur or Jim Ross is going to say, Jade is in trouble. Some sort of like Jade may have underestimated Anna Jay. Yeah.
What was Jade's last match? I think Jade's last match, she had gotten some, she got knocked down.
Made it 30, something that made it 30-0. It was
What's old girl that rocks with Ronda? I forgot her name. Maria Sharif or Maria?
Maria Shafir. Oh, how did you forget where Jay said Maria Shafir or whatever her last name?
That was a good match in the sense of like
a decent match.
Yeah, there was some challenge there to Jade's superiority. I think Anna does some things, but ultimately she goes down, and she should. There should be no reason you lift the belt off Jade right now. None.
Not at all.
Agreed. So are we unanimous, Jade? Yes.
Yes, hold on. We've got a permission to ask a question from...
Jump in, Fluffy
question. Depends on what the question is whether I'll show it or not. But
yeah,
sure.
I guess that's right.
I don't know how I feel about this, but please ask your question. All right, keep going.
Okay, well, we're gonna keep going, and if they ask their question, they can ask. So, all right, moving along with the championships, we got an amazing preview of this match last night, in which my man Starkman Jones looked real hot during those commercial segments. I know he didn't get a lot of hot time on TV, but if you were watching the picture-in-picture, Starks looked real hot. I think. Okay, I'm going to read it out first, and then I'm going to tell you what I think, but you already know what I think. So, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, the current champions, versus Team Taz of Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Will Hobbs versus the three-team match versus Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. I'm going Team Taz. I'm a Starks mark. I think it is time for Hobbs and Starks to collect those belts. Anybody else?
I'll jump in. I mean, this one is, I think, one of the tougher ones to pick the outcome. Other than I'm confident that Jungle Boy and the Jurassic Express will not retain the titles, but I'm not quite sure who's gonna take the titles. I was thinking it was going to be Keith Lee and Swerve, but I'm on the fence about this one.
They went over last night, so
yeah,
I think it's going to be Team Taz. But I mean, you're free to have your own opinion. You're free to be wrong, right?
The only thing that's weird about that is that as long as you have the FTW title as an unofficial title, I don't know. One of the things about AEW big picture is it's so tough. We talk about this all the time. It's so that the talent that they have, it's so tough to keep all those plates spinning. And I just wonder if you bring in Keith Lee, you bring in Swerve. They are sort of a makeshift tag team, but if they're the champions, then all of a sudden, like those two plates, so to speak, are good to go for the foreseeable future. So that was what I was thinking, but I could be talked out of that.
I think whoever goes over, I want Blue to jump in next, but I think whoever goes over, Keith Lee and Swerve and Hobbs and Starks are going to be in a program for a while now. Whoever wins, the other one's going to be coming back. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that combination just because it's been such a good ratings draw particularly they've been getting a lot of ratings on Rampage for that combination of teams. Blue, who you got?
I got Swerve in the Glory. because right now they got their team moves together. They got their brand new shirts. Whenever you come out with a brand new shirt, I expect you to be together for a little while, and they put money behind you. Team Taz, I think, do they Team Taz even have a shirt as a collective?
I mean, they got
I'm not even
they
sure.
got really
They
great
probably
shirts
did, I'm
of their
sure, at one
own.
point.
But yeah, I think Swerve and Lee definitely have some good chemistry in the ring, and I think that it's going to lead to more into their program with, Team Taz in a sense, because Jungle Boy and them, they're gonna have to deal with Christian because Christian is about to drop them after they lose these titles, or whatever what's gonna happen on that end. So this is just the break off for them. So I just think this is just moving two storylines in different directions, and it's gonna be interesting to see.
Hard agree on that. Okay, Cheats, who you got?
I am 100% with Blue, 100%, and I am going with Keith Lee and Swerve because again, we've got to start paying off some of these big deals, and they just released merch. You can't release merch that have the Swerve Glory shirts and not have a run with them. So they're going to stay together for a while. They're going to have the belts. They're going to feud probably with Ricky and at Powerhouse, and they're going to keep that going. But I'm 100% with Blue.
Elliot, did you guess on this one yet?
I have not guessed on this one. I mean, I'm down with Blue and Cheats for real on this, but I think if you look at the Jurassic Express, they had a great run. Luchasaurus could probably have a good run as a single star. So can Jungle Boy, if they are comfortable with taking Jungle Boy down the card a little bit right now, who they say is one of the pillars. I could see this program. We know that Swerve and Lee and Hobbs and Starks are going to continue this. You could have Jurassic Park in it for another few months, and maybe somehow Jurassic Park.
You're
Damn, Elliot,
Elliot.
you've been all over the
Blackpool
place. You got
Comedy and Jurassic
Blackpool
Park.
Comedy Club and Jurassic Park. Ain't
I
that
love
fun?
it.
Well, everyone now knows what I did an hour before we started taping. But yeah, so this could go. The three of them could go one more month to another pay per view. I'm going to say Jurassic Press somehow retains for some reason because just to sort of keep it, just to maybe pull away here in the predictions to take it. I guess
I appreciate you taking that risk, but I'm a little upset because I thought that we were gonna have at least a unanimous not Jurassic Express, even though you guys think it's going to a different set of amazing, talented black men than I do. Either way, I think we're gonna have some Black Boy Joy and Excellence popping off.
Let me say, I can't wait for that. Yes, because I'm
excited. All right, so let's go to our final two that are our big the championships for the company. I'm gonna switch this up because ladies are important, and we're gonna go with the ladies one last. So let's jump right into Hangman Adam Page versus CM Punk for the AEW World Championship. Who you got, and tell me why.
Summer of Punk. Punk's going to win. They didn't come in and give it to him any more prematurely than they could have when he debuted in August of last year. Been just shy of a year. He's been gold. He's gone through competitors. He's done it the right way. Everyone wants to see him take a run with the title. Not everyone might be prepared for what happens next. I think it's about to go nuclear, but that's what I want to see, and that's what I think is going to happen. Let's get it on. Punk champion.
Blue, who you got? Tell me why.
I have Hangman Adam Page only because Kenta is going to cost him the title, which is going to lead to the Forbidden Door match.
God, I love that.
You guys got to remember with this whole, because remember last night we had United Empire come out of nowhere.
Yeah, we did. Great O'Con and Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, kids have been asking for this match, and Punk on interviews has been downplaying it. Last time we seen Punk downplay stuff, it actually came to fruition. So I kind of, and he said this before he came to AEW that he kind of wanted to have this match with Kenta. So I don't know where this change of attitude came from. Well, all of a sudden he doesn't want nothing with Kenta. He just wants Okada. But yeah, I see that Kenta popping up, costing him the match, and building that for Forbidden Door. We got to start Forbidden Door somewhere.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, well,
this is the perfect time.
Yeah, whether they interfere with the main event or not, or let that have a clean finish, but the sort of the subplot to all this is where New Japan fits into this weekend when they establish, when they start the Forbidden Door stuff, and it could be Kenta. I was, Okada, sure, but it's a great thought, Blue.
I think you give Okada him and Adam Page. He's the champ. He's been going at. He's been beating down
like
your best wrestlers. Let's get Hangman versus Okada. He's watched Kenny have the match with him. He even had Marty Scurll have a match with Okada. So why not Hangman on the Page at his best right now? I say you give it to him.
I like that, and I like the thought of. I like, Blue, that you're thinking like, another pay-per-view down the road, right? Like, this isn't, we do have to set up some longer story, and Tony Khan loves a long story. So I think we're looking at June for that, which is soon. So we've got to come out of Double or Nothing with the wheels turning for Forbidden Door, and I think I don't know who wins, but I do think we're going to have some definite New Japan interference. Cheats, who you got, Hangman or CM Punk, and tell me why.
I was thinking Punk goes over. I think it's about time. I think it's time he takes the belt. I do like where Blue is headed because Forbidden Door is so soon. And isn't Forbidden Door, is it in Chicago?
Right.
Or is it
and that was gonna be my, but go ahead.
Yeah. So Forbidden Door is really soon. Forbidden Door is in Chicago. I still think he walks into that event maybe with a strap, but there's got to be some New Japan presence in Double or Nothing, and I don't know where it fits in. This is the only place where I can really see it fitting in, so I'm expecting some type of New Japan shenanigans, but I'm going to go the other way. Maybe New Japan shenanigans causes Hangman Page the belt, puts the strap on Punk, he turns heel, full heel, goes into Chicago, Forbidden Door with the belt.
See, this is the thing. I think we're all on the same page as far as where Punk is headed, big picture. And as we talked about at the top, one of the things I really liked about the promo last night was that it plants those seeds. And I think you're right. I think, Megan, to your point, he's a better heel than he is a face. You couldn't turn him heel right away because he was just going to be so over when he returned to wrestling. Right. You had to wait. Now you can do it. But I think the reason why you're going to get a tease this weekend, but he's not going to go full heel yet because you would be crazy to do it the month before you're going to Chicago because it's going to completely undermine what you're trying to do because he's going to be a face in Chicago no matter what he does on TV. Yeah. So I think Page keeps the title only because, to Blue's point and to some of what was just said, I think the main event of Forbidden Door is probably something like Page and Punk versus two New Japan stars or something like that. So you put this on kind of a simmer, and then maybe there's more dissension between those two guys at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, and then you go from there and he goes full heel. But I think Page keeps it, but now I'm more intrigued after last night as where this goes.
I said it when Punk came and when he was in his MJF program, but I think only Punk can turn Punk heel. Like, the only person capable of making us hate CM Punk is CM Punk. Nobody else can come in. Because even Hangman is over. People love Hangman. And even when Punk's kind of being a tool about it, they're still chanting CM Punk. So I don't know. I'm on the fence, but I'm leaning towards Summer of Punk and full heel turn. But I do really like the point about New Japan. I like the point about that Forbidden Door pay-per-view being in Chicago. I think that you guys are right, that there's no way you can really have a heel Punk in Chicago.
And you had a heel MJF in Staten Island.
Yeah, but
he was treated like a face.
But it was
right. I'm saying
face.
Long Island
face.
But could you have heel Punk in Chicago and then the Chicago fans just love him anyway?
don't know, like, because I think like what's been great about Punk as a heel is like he is capable of getting like nuclear heat everywhere he
He can
goes.
turn it. He can turn on the Chicago fans too. Pointing
Yeah.
I mean, okay, because the AEW has no history of doing that. What they do
Exactly.
is they let MJF be a hero in his hometown. They let Ricky Starks, who's another heel, he's a heel.
Leave
Let him
Stark
let him
out
let
of
him be a
this.
hero. Let him be a hero in his hometown. Chicago's gonna love Punk anyway. I think there's an element of New Japan allowing, coming in, cheating to win, taking the belt off Page. Maybe you get a Page Okada match. I don't know. I think Punk walks out of there with the belt.
All right, so we're gonna credit Blue with the hottest take and the best prediction in that something New Japan is gonna happen, and we're kind of split on whether Page holds the title or Punk gets it. Okay,
And
so
I think we're sorry to interrupt. One last quick point. I think we're all on the same page as far as where things are headed. The only disagreement is the schedule, because I think we all think it's going the same destination. It's just when it's going to get there.
Absolutely. Okay, so last match I want to talk about, which I'm very, very excited for. These are two women that have put a lot of work in the business. Two women that are, I mean, even with their championships and professor titles, are vastly underrated for the amount of work they're able to do in the ring. We have the AEW Women's World Championship, Thunder Rosa La Mera versus the Professor Serena Deeb. Who you got and why? Go, Chief.
I'll go first.
Is it time for my official heel turn? Can
I
do an official heel turn for this?
Go ahead, turn heel.
I'm just saying, I can do without this match.
Oh wow!
I think
that's some go home heat right there.
Right, this is some go home. I'm giving go home. Somebody has to do it in honor of my homie Ty. You know what I'm saying? Who by the way loves both of these wrestlers. I get it. I understand why for wrestling fans, like diehard wrestling fans that have followed the careers of these two amazing wrestlers, why this is their moment in the sun. This is what was the match? What was it that the Jericho Eddie Kingston match? Was it the last pay-per-view when they were like, finally, Eddie got a great match and a big win on TV that was like a culmination of his career that he got that match, right? This match here for these two individuals, Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb, will be one of those matches. But I don't think it has like I just can't see. I mean, it could be a good wrestling match. I mean, I hope they show out and do the best they can. I hope they're a show stealer. It just has for me, it just has no interest. Jade is the biggest story in the women's division. Brett Baker and whatever's happening with the Owen Hart tournament, I think, is bigger than this. I don't know how AEW has actually, in many ways, in my mind, outside of the Thunder Rosa promo, what was it, Wednesday night, where she was like, "Look at my face." I don't know how they've buried such a champion in this. I just think she's not, she's the champion, and I feel like she's still well in the mid card. And I think this match is a mid card match.
I think it's going to be a really good match.
Or do you just not want to watch? Is this your bathroom break?
I'm gonna watch.
You're such a hater. Ty has infected you.
Who's gonna win the match? Again, I don't know if there's enough story there. I want
Watch your mouth.
I want Thunder Rosa to win the match because I don't know what you do with the Professor after this. I don't know. Neither one of them are gonna beat Jade. Neither. But
okay, I'm canceling your take. You're canceled.
Thunder Rosa wins. Thunder Rosa wins.
I don't know. I wish I could edit. Can I just like put you out?
Brett Baker. Here I go.
Blue, go ahead. Yay!
Wow, look at that.
Canceled for that
Good
take.
job.
Don't nobody else tell me this match doesn't matter, or I'm gonna take you off the screen too. Blue, who you got?
I got Serena Deebs. only because not every champion can have long reigns, and I think Thunder Rosa is a good example of that. And with Serena Deebs, who's been on the road these past couple of weeks, these past couple of months, doing what she does, I can understand somebody not be interested in the match through their promos. They're not promo people. They do better with video packages, and they do better with being coached. It's not for everybody, but I feel like again, Thunder Rosa delivered on Wednesday night with her promo. I think their defining moment is going to be in the ring between those two women, and it could probably be one of the top 3 matches of the night, to be honest with you. And I just feel like this is Serena Deeb's chance to really just go over and win the championship. Thunder Rosa could be a great transitional champion. I hate to use the term, but this could be perfect for Serena Deebs. I would love to see Serena Deebs in Blackpool Combat Club. To be honest with you, I feel like that's more her wheelhouse.
Just beating people up.
And yeah, exactly. Just beating people up, and that way we can have a change in the dynamics for the championship. But I just see Serena Deebs. I'm hoping Serena Deebs win. No disrespect to Thunder Rosa. I love her, but
I can support your hope. But I think we're keeping the belt on Rosa. No, don't cancel Blue. He didn't say. He said it was going to be one of the top 3 matches of the night. He stays on the screen. Okay, so I think Rosa's going over, but I will say I know people have said like the promo hasn't been good, the storyline hasn't been good, but I think Rosa last night, and then even though the crowd reaction wasn't great, I think Deeb's promo the week before, where Dustin came down and got in the ring with her, and she was man.
Bad.
That's
It
the
was
crowd
yourself again. Cheat.
I said the crowd. I said the crowd, not the.
Oh, okay. You can come back, Cheats. The crowd was awful because she was talking about some real stuff, like what she had to go through in WWE. I remember her in Straight Edge Society. That was when I was falling in love with Punk. Like, so I mean, she's paid her dues. I don't see her going over Rosa because I do think they've done Rosa so wrong with her reign. I think they've got to give her a little bit more time to get a little more steam behind the belt, get a little more steam behind herself, to just justify that championship. Because I mean, she was due when it was her turn. I want to start like a Twitter campaign to get Serena Deeb with Blackpool Combat Club because that is such a good matchup. Like that is definitely her speed. All right, TG, who you got for this match?
I think it's going to be a really good match. I think Thunder Rosa retains. And the issue that I would characterize it as it's been a bad build. I don't think the promo that Serena Deeb cut, I think was a good promo, but it was a face promo. And the reason that they had to bring Dustin out there was so that she would have, a popular face to kind of direct it at, but really it was a promo on WWE. I mean, that's a face promo. So I think it's been, the creative's been a little misguided on that, which is not the fault of Serena Deeb or Thunder Rosa. I thought Thunder Rosa's promo this week was also good, but the build has been, as it has been typical with a lot of AEW women's championship builds, it has not been really their strong suit. So I think that's hurt the kind of the interest in the match, but I think the match is going to be really good. So, and Thunder Rosa wins.
Okay. So I guess we can cross the aisle and agree on some things. Thank you, Tom, for big up in the match. And yes, Thunder Rosa is going to win. Okay, Elliot the Collector, last take of the night, last prediction of the night.
Well, when you have the last prediction of the night, you have heard a lot of excellent opinions to this point. Now, Ty, Megan may have infected Cheats, but you have definitely infected me. I am a lot closer to where you are on Thunder Rosa. The build has been a mess, as
thank you, Tom.
Tom has said. I want this to be the kind of match it has the potential to be. These two can put on a top 3 match of the night. I hope they do. I mean, I hope there are virtually no botches, just like I hope there are in none of the matches. But sometimes a botch in a women's match can elicit much more of a visceral response from a certain segment of fans. I hope it goes off without a hitch, and because these two have deserved better, I think Thunder Rosa retains.
All right. Those are all our predictions. Now, normally we end because we're way over. We're like
We're way over.
130 over. We normally end with the heel of the week, but this week has been heely enough. So I'm going to end with your face of the week. Really quick rundown. Who's your face of the week? Blue, who is your face of the week? Who do you love this week? Wrestling or non-wrestling? Doesn't matter.
Sasha Banks and Naomi is my face of the week for standing up for what they believe in. And there's nothing more to say about that.
Bang. Let them know. Close the door, Blue. Bang. Okay, TG, who's your face of the week?
My face of the week is Vince McMahon for being a wise and prudent businessman and really a captain of industry.
It's just the opposite.
Where's the cancel button? Cancel time.
Bleep.
There he goes.
He's on. All right, Elliot, face of the week.
Beto O'Rourke. There you go. Enough said. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Go ahead, Beto. Beto 2022. It's this year, 2022. Beto 2022. Sheets, face of the week.
I'm going to go with Steve Kerr. In the same vein, but
I
think
Steve Kerr
Steve Kerr had a huge platform in the playoffs, and he took that opportunity to speak in what he believed in. And I know, a lot of people can say things like, he was just speaking his mind, or that's what he believed in. But here's the idea of that is that there are a bunch of coaches in the playoffs. There are a bunch of coaches in professional sports right now. None of them said what Steve Kerr said. So I do give credit for people that use their platform, even though it was sports pre-game press conference. And I commend Steve Kerr. He's my face of the week.
Absolutely. My face of the week, and I hope that you paused this show and then went and watched Hey EW with Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs. My faces of the week are Stroke Daddy and Uncle Crush. And I need you to go watch it now.
I don't know who these people are.
It's Powerhouse Hobbs, who is Uncle Crush, and then Ricky Starks is Stroke Daddy. Just go watch Hey EW. It's amazing, really and you'll understand all the things that I'm saying. Uncle Crush, Mr. Break Your Back. You got to go watch it. It's amazing. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you tune in this weekend. So Double or Nothing. There's going to be tons of great wrestling. There's going to be lots of stuff. Is the inability and unwillingness of the powerful.
Fluffy Kitten had a hit a heel, so we just threw it up there. Thank you for watching the show.
I like that heel. That heel works.
I like the heel too.
Thank you guys for watching. Watch wrestling this weekend. Double or Nothing. Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Plug your show real quick.
Who, me? Oh, me.
Yeah, you. We always put our friends on
Instagram. Follow the Mixed Tag Show on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. They're all the same. The Mixed Tag Show. Follow me at Blue Magic Grind, spell high sound, and as it's spelled underneath my picture there. Follow my chat sheet partner, Miss Jenna BBAYBEE. Yeah, that's it. I can say right now.
Thanks, Blue.
Thanks, Blue. Double or Nothing live, Twitter, WCW Pod. Make sure we're gonna be on it.
You do it. And now this is probably our longest show in history, so I'm gonna go ahead and count us out. 1, 2, 3. See you guys next week.